Are you Matthew Aldridge?
I'm the attorney of fact for Matthew Aldridge.
You were what?
The attorney of fact.
Attorney what?
Of fact.
Attorney of fact. And what does that mean?
You know, right. His authorization to do legal representation.
Are you a licensed attorney?
No, I'm simply an attorney of fact.
Okay. And does that mean you have a power of attorney? What is your name? What is your name?
All right, guys, today's court hearing is absolutely wild. We got Matthew Aldridge. Well, at least that's what the papers say. But the guy at the podium is pulling the classic I don't have a name act. He's calling himself the attorney of fact, which, by the way, isn't even a real thing in law. These sovereign citizen types always try to argue that the court has no power over them. But here's the reality. Courts have jurisdiction over anyone in their area, period. The judge isn't buying it for 1 second and completely shuts him down in the most epic way. By the end, the judge outsmarts him so badly that you almost feel second-hand embarrassment. Let's go ahead and dive into this courtroom showdown.
My name?
Yes, sir.
I don't have.
You don't have a name? Pardon?
I'm the attorney of fact for the respondent mayor.
Well, let me explain to you. Only an attorney at law can stand in court and represent a criminal defendant. And to do so otherwise violates the criminal law statutes of the state of Tennessee and could land someone who attempts to represent themselves as an attorney at law in serious trouble. I understand what you're saying. I understand you're saying an attorney in fact. And what I want you to understand is that if you have a power of attorney, then you need to demonstrate that power of attorney. Do you have a legal document called a power of attorney?
No, I do not this time.
Okay. Then you don't have any authority to act on behalf of Matthew Aldridge in this court. You have no legal authority, nor do you have any authority through a legal document to represent or to act on behalf of Matthew Aldridge.
Why don't the court just let me file this document?
Show it to the bailiff and he'll show it to me. Apparently there's a copy here.
I mean, it's one thing to claim you're an attorney of fact, but to back it up with nothing more than a random piece of paper? Come on now. You guys didn't get to see it because it was kind of a slow moment. But basically, the paper he handed to the judge quoted some made-up law that supposedly gave him the right to represent the person Matthew Aldridge. For those wondering, real attorneys have to be licensed by the state and follow actual legal procedures. None of this DIY, one-page legal fantasy nonsense. Sovereign citizens like this guy love to argue about jurisdiction as if declaring themselves above the law actually works. Spoiler, it doesn't. Courts operate on well-established laws, not imaginary ones, and this judge clearly wasn't here to entertain the circus act. Honestly, is this whole sovereign citizen movement becoming more popular, or am I just unlucky enough to keep stumbling across these bizarre cases? Let me know in the comments.
Well, I find that Matthew Neal Aldridge has failed to appear personally in this court for the plea day on his case, which is set for trial tomorrow. And as a result, you have no standing, sir, under what I know what you're trying to do is to try to use the sovereign citizen approach to this situation. And I'm simply telling you that you do not have the right to represent Matthew Neal Aldridge. If you are, in fact, Matthew Neal Aldridge, then you need to say so and stop this nonsense, because what you're attempting to do has no legal effect. You cannot challenge the criminal law or the jurisdiction of this court by simply filing some legal mumbo jumbo having to do with civil litigation. That has civil litigation in it. It is not a criminal case that you have cited. So it has no effect on this court regarding the criminal statutes of this court. This court is empowered under the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, and by the duly elected citizens of Cheatham County to empower and enforce the laws of the state of Tennessee. And that is what I'm going to do regarding Matthew Lynn Aldridge. Mr. Aldridge is set for today to appear in court personally on what we call our last plea day before his trial date tomorrow.
Is that an article pre-trial?
To what?
Will that be an article pre-trial? A trial by jury with jury?
It would be a trial by jury, certainly it would be. But I don't know who you are. And I don't think you have any authority if you are not Matthew Lynn Aldridge to appear before this court. And you're wasting valuable time to all of these other citizens who are here today. So when I'm talking, you stop talking. No, you will when I'm finished talking. You are wasting the court's time by doing this, and I'm just simply instructing you that if you are in fact Matthew Lynn Aldridge, then this is your last day to settle your case. The trial date is set for tomorrow, and unfortunately, it will not go forward because of the fact that I have a conflict and I have to be in Stewart County on a civil matter. So we're going to assign a new trial date for Matthew Lynn Aldridge. All right. To Matthew Aldridge and the individual standing before me whose name must not be uttered.
This judge is handling this lunatic like an absolute pro, staying calm while shutting him down at every turn. The guy barely even got a chance to push his sovereign citizen nonsense before the judge dismantled it piece by piece. It almost seemed like the judge took this personally, or, at the very least, has dealt with these types of cases so often that he's just over it. Things really got interesting when the guy started quoting his made-up laws, and the judge wasn't having any of it. One of the funniest moments was when the judge straight up told him he couldn't utter his name. That was wild. Usually, judges stay stoic and don't show much expression, but this time, you could tell he was fed up. From the start, it was clear that this judge wasn't going to waste a second of his time entertaining this circus act. At the end of the day, this just proves how ridiculous and pointless these stunts really are.
We will set a July 15th trial date for Mr. Aldridge. Whatever this document is that you have filed is in fact invalid because it does not cite any valid criminal statute, and therefore deny whatever that might be in the way of a motion. The trial date will be July 15th. The last day for Mr. Aldridge to enter a plea or go to trial will be July the 8th. July the 8th. Now, we're going to give you a card. If you are in fact Matthew Aldridge and you're just playing games with the court regarding this nonsense that you filed, then you may get this card and you may go on about your business. If you are not Matthew Aldridge, then I would suggest to you, you relay to Mr. Aldridge that he must appear on July the 8th, or a bond revocation will take place, and his case will be will take place with him in jail, incarcerated on the 15th. That's the judgment of the court. You need to take your piece of paper and go on about your...
Sovereign citizens are truly a different breed. These are people who genuinely believe they can opt out of the legal system just by refusing to recognize the government's authority. They ramble on about things like common law or the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, completely misunderstanding how these laws actually work. Just to be clear, courts operate under federal, state, and local laws that have been in place for centuries and are backed by the Constitution. There's no magical loophole where you can simply declare that the rules don't apply to you. Yet, these folks keep clogging up courtrooms with bizarre legal arguments, wasting everyone's time, and ultimately achieving nothing but a criminal record. Legally speaking, the whole sovereign citizen defense collapses because of something called jurisdiction. Courts have authority over anyone within their geographic area, no matter what legal nonsense someone claims. These arguments might sound clever in their echo chambers, but judges have seen it all before and don't entertain it for a second. And for anyone wondering, trying to dodge taxes or beat a speeding ticket with these tactics doesn't just fail. It can actually backfire, leading to heavier penalties for wasting the court's time. Honestly, I don't get why these people keep trying this. Do they really think they are outsmarting the system, or is it just some strange form of rebellion? Either way, it's ridiculous, and frankly, kind of sad. They are not fighting the system, they are just making fools of themselves. That's going to wrap up today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about sovereign citizens in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and take care.